Trump, I did not vote for you. While exercising her right to choose. I'm talking about making choices for her body and her family, choices regarding birth control options, breast exams, and of course, cancer screenings. Um, as most of you know, Planned Parenthood has been under attack for many years now for another service they thankfully offer for providing a safe place for legal abortions, should it be the case.
Hold on to your seats, folks, because Scarlett Johansson just shook the foundations of the Trump family with a truth bomb that even Donald Trump wasn't ready for. If you thought the drama couldn't get any juicier, think again. Because Scarlett Johansson just put the Trump circus on blast in a way no one expected. Let's break it down. First off, Scarlett Johansson, yes, the Scarlett Johansson, the Black Widow herself, came in hot. She didn't just dip her toes into the water. She cannonballed right in, exposing the many layers of chaos, lies, and hypocrisy that make up the Trump family's public image.
Be able to support you. But first, I ask that you support me. Support my sister. Support my mother. Support my best friend and all of our girlfriends. Support the men and women here today that are anxiously awaiting to see how your next moves may drastically affect their lives.
And this time, she didn't hold back. She exposed Donald Trump for what he really is. And trust me, this is not a pretty sight, but here's the kicker. This wasn't just about Trump. No, Scarlett made sure to drag his very own daughter, Ivanka Trump, into this mess too. You know Ivanka, the one who tries to distance herself from her father's political scandals, but can't quite shake off the complicit label. Scarlett wasn't having any of it. She brought the heat, not just for Trump, but for Ivanka, too, showing us how she's been a part of the problem all along.
A woman's right to choose what to do with her body shouldn't just be a woman's rights issue. It's the year 2016, and this is a human rights issue. A woman's right to choose is a deeply personal one and should not be a part of anyone's political platform. It has nothing to do with politics in the slightest. It is about honoring and respecting women and about upholding the law.
And believe me, it's all connected in a way that's just too rich to ignore. But before we get into the family drama, let's talk about why Scarlett Johansson decided to get involved. It wasn't just for the sake of airing out the Trump family's dirty laundry. No, Scarlett took a stand for women's rights, and more specifically, women's right to choose. In a world where women's healthcare and reproductive rights are under attack, Scarlett decided it was time to speak up, loud and clear.
How old-fashioned, this idea that behind a great man is a great woman. And what about being in front of that person or next to them or standing on your own? You don't know what I mean? It's such an old-fashioned concept that to be this powerful woman, you can't appear, to be concerned with what you're going to feel, that somebody's going to think that you're that you're bitchy or that you're, I think powerful women often, they get concerned with this idea that they're going to be seen in this unforgiving light and, screw that. It's so old fashioned and it's so uninspired and
And she didn't just do it on any platform. She did it live on national television. She used her platform to call out Trump's hypocrisy and expose his administration's stance on women's health, reminding everyone that a woman's right to choose should never be up for debate. Scarlett didn't just stop there. She pointed the finger directly at Ivanka, who for years has tried to distance herself from the political mess that her father created. Ivanka played the part of the dutiful daughter, trying to keep a low profile while staying in the White House.
Years before, my brother Hunter and I were living with my father, and at 15, I had been working in the entertainment industry for 8 or so years and had been fortunate enough to be eligible for private health insurance through my union.
But Scarlett wasn't fooled. Scarlett laid it out for all of us. Ivanka might act like she's not involved in the chaos, but she's been right there, in the thick of it, helping prop up her father's policies and, by extension, his toxic political agenda. It's almost laughable when you think about Ivanka's earlier attempts to distance herself from her father's political career.
In an election year when claims of sexism dominate the race for the White House, Donald Trump's daughter Ivanka works to stay out of the political spotlight. In our conversation, we explored the gender issue and what it means to be a working woman. And even away from the campaign trail, her family is putting its own stamp on the organization. Would you like to be a successor?
It's not something I prioritize. My brothers and I, early on, we said to one another that as a collective, we could do far more than any of us could do individually. And I really believe that. So for me, title is largely irrelevant. I want to show up at work and love what I do and be able to work on projects that I'm passionate about.
This is your office.
Remember that time when Ivanka said she didn't care if people called her complicit? That was her big rebellious moment, as if it was somehow a badge of honor. But in reality, Ivanka's actions have proven time and again that she's been deeply involved in her father's political schemes, whether she wants to admit it or not. It's clear now that Scarlett Johansson wasn't going to let Ivanka off the hook, and she made sure we all knew it. Now let's talk about something that Scarlett hit on that's been on all of our minds for years: Donald Trump's complete and utter lack of empathy. Scarlett didn't mince words when it came to calling out the narcissism that has plagued Trump's presidency and beyond. The man has consistently put his brand and his self-interest above everything else.
You hear the phrase complicit, that Jared and Ivanka are complicit in what is happening to the White House. Can you just weigh in on how you feel about that? There have been articles, there have been parodies. What do you think about that accusation?
If being complicit is wanting to be a force for good and to make a positive impact, then I'm complicit.
And Scarlett was there to remind us all that this isn't just a political failure, it's a human failure. In a powerful moment, Scarlett Johansson reminded the audience that a woman's right to choose is not just a political issue, it's a human rights issue. This isn't something that should be part of anyone's political platform. It's a personal decision that belongs to the woman, her doctor, and no one else. Scarlett made it clear that these rights should not be up for debate or negotiation, and definitely not used as a political tool to push an agenda.
It is time that we all pay it forward. It is time that we all stand with Planned Parenthood for our sisters, our mothers, for our friends, and for our daughters. It is time we all stand united. So this conversation is taken off the ballot, so to speak, and out of the mouths of politicians, remaining a private and personal one between a woman and her partner, her doctor, and herself.
And with that, she took a stand for the millions of women in this country whose rights are being stripped away piece by piece. But let's not forget the Trump family's role in all of this. Ivanka, in particular, has been the one to play the part of the reasonable Trump, despite being deeply embroiled in her father's mess. She once claimed she wouldn't get involved in the political drama, but then went on to become one of her father's most trusted advisors. She's been working behind the scenes, pulling strings and influencing policy decisions, all while pretending like she wasn't involved. Scarlett didn't let her get away with it. She laid out Ivanka's history in the White House and showed how she's been complicit in all the chaos and controversy surrounding her father's presidency.
Support my daughter, who may actually, as a result of the appointments you have made, grow up in a country that is moving backwards, not forwards, and who may potentially not have the right to make choices for her body and her future that your daughter Ivanka has been privileged to have.
But the drama doesn't end there. Let's take a moment to talk about Ivanka's more recent attempts to salvage her reputation. In interviews, she's tried to downplay her role in the White House, claiming she was just doing background work for her father. Right. Background work? As if that somehow absolves her of the role she played in every major policy decision and scandal that came out of that administration. Scarlett Johansson wasn't fooled by Ivanka's feigned innocence. She reminded everyone that if you're going to be involved in a political system like this, you can't just sit in the background and claim to be neutral. You have to take responsibility for the decision.
Vote like your life depends on it, or vote like your children's lives depend on it. Because they do. And to all the women and all the men with daughters and sisters and mothers. Everybody, no matter how you identify, now is your chance to vote against Donald Trump.
I am not okay with his temperament, and I sat in the room, so I actually could feel his rage throughout his testimony, and I felt like he was acting as though he was a political operative. He was very volatile. I've said numerous times, if a woman had acted like that during a line of questioning, she would have been considered unhinged. Also, let's talk about this op-ed for a second. If a woman had written that op-ed apologizing for their behavior and saying, "I'm so sorry, I was emotional, but I was there as a mother, as a daughter." I mean, the double standard is unbelievable.
You make. And Ivanka failed to do that. Scarlett Johansson's remarks weren't just about calling out Trump and his family for their actions. They were a reminder that we, as a society, cannot continue to allow the Trump family to manipulate the system for their own gain. It's about time we stop pretending like Ivanka is just some innocent bystander who didn't know what was going on. Scarlett made it clear. Ivanka has been right there, playing the game and benefiting from it, just like the rest of them. And while Scarlett Johansson was certainly one of the loudest voices in this conversation, she's not the only celebrity who has been unafraid to take on Trump. Lady Gaga, Alyssa Milano, and many others have used their platforms to call out Trump for his divisive rhetoric, his treatment of women, and his harmful policies. These women have become icons of resistance, standing up for marginalized communities, fighting for women's rights, and challenging the status quo. Lady Gaga has been especially outspoken in her criticism of Trump, using her platform to advocate for LGBTQ+ rights, women's rights, and racial justice. She's never shied away from speaking truth to power, and she's proven time and again that her celebrity status is a tool for activism, not silence. Alyssa Milano has also been an outspoken critic of Trump, using her voice to amplify the Number Me Too movement and call attention to Trump's alleged sexual misconduct. She's fought for equality and justice, particularly for women and immigrants, and has used her platform to stand up against Trump's harmful policies. In conclusion, Scarlett Johansson, Lady Gaga, and Alyssa Milano aren't just celebrities. They're leaders. They've used their fame and influence to take on one of the most controversial and divisive figures in modern American politics. They've shown that celebrity status doesn't have to mean silence in the face of injustice. These women are speaking out, standing up, and fighting for what they believe is right. And as for Ivanka Trump, well, the truth is, she can try to distance herself from the chaos all she wants, but her actions speak louder than her words. She may not want to be seen as complicit, but the reality is that she's been at the center of it all, helping her father run this political circus. And Scarlett Johansson, along with many others, won't let her, or anyone else, forget it. So, when it's all said and done, this isn't just about celebrities attacking Trump. This is about standing up for what's right, demanding accountability, and using your platform for good. The Trump family may have thought they could run the show, but the world is watching, and so are these powerful women who aren't afraid to call them out for their actions.
Down, I mean, to the extent that President Trump had to be elected. And I think with that came a sudden fear, an urgent fear in our country that women were feeling. And if not fear, then rage. And then we watched him put people in positions of power that were trying to systematically roll back a lot of rights, not just women's rights, but a lot of rights. So that, I think, propelled the success of this collective power that we are trying to harness right now.
People want to win races. Other people want to be president of the United States and change people's lives. It's about the intention. I believe that will reveal itself. People are smart. And I am hopeful that our nation is coming together. There's a lot of young people that really, really love each other. And if we can reestablish that human connection and get everyone to start speaking, I believe this divisiveness can change.